Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are Digital Waypoint. I forgot the freaking nerds, but you're welcome here too. My name is Noah. I'm sitting across this table, this plastic, elegant table with a blanket on it from my boy Mason. Mason, how are you?
Good evening. I got through that this time without a voice crack.
That's true. That's true. He tried.
I'm doing good.
He's doing good. He tried to go through that. This is the third time that we've done this intro.
I was going to leave my voice crack in there though.
That's true. The second time he left in his voice crack is very cute. It's not as cute as how he looks normally, but it's very cute.
You know.
If you like good music and you're a fan of what you just listened to before I screamed for like the fourth time in 10 minutes, you're going to love my boy Cloudy Sky. A Cloudy Sky spelled Skye, spelled S-K-Y-E. Look him up. You can find him on anywhere that you listen to your music. Alrighty. This week, last week we finished our two-parter on 3D platformers. And as we're talking about it, we're talking about a lot of games that are getting reboots or games that are spiritual successors to, remasters, all that kind of stuff. And I started thinking, but both Mason and myself started thinking about games that we just started thinking about remasters and reboots, and we were talking about how we really wanted to see a DK64 remake, or honestly even just remaster.
Yeah.
And we just started thinking about, why don't we talk about that? Because I feel like there's so much just to talk about the differences, how to do it well, games that should be, that haven't yet, games that have been redone that should not have been,
or about to
be. So yeah, we're just gonna jump right into it.
Yeah,
we got a lot of stuff that we want to talk about, and I think that the best place for us to start talking about this is understanding the differences between remakes, remasters, and reboots, because I feel like people use them interchangeably, but they're totally different. I mean, very different things, and they're kind of, in some ways, a little annoying to try and figure out how to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially between, we were talking before this, a reboot and a remake are kind of hard to tell apart. So we've got a remake, which is sort of like the Pokemon games. So just like we're getting what is it? Shining Diamond, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, whatever, something like that. Those are remakes because they are pretty much the exact same game as before, maybe with a little quality of life updates just for a newer audience. Then you've got a reboot, which is, just like the original game, except it takes a whole different turn most of the time in the story. So something like this is like how we had Modern Warfare COD 4 in 2007, 2008, something like that.
Somewhere in there.
And then we had, 12 years later in 2019, we had Modern Warfare, which was on PS4 and Xbox One. And in the story mode of this game, it was still Price. It still had the same themes as the original Modern Warfare, but it was a different storyline. It took a different turn, different branching timeline, kind of. Another example of this is Final Fantasy VII. The remaster has a whole lot more filled in because I think it's going to be 3 games where the original was 1 game. This one has totally different gameplay. It's not turn-based. It's a full action game, and it's got a different branching storyline than the original. And then we have remasters, what's a remaster? You can tell me. Like something like The Last of Us coming out on the.
Oh yeah,
PS.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's more like a graphical, just like a graphical.
Yeah, like a
update.
graphical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So something like that. I mean, you even have just recently. Today's May 14th.
Yeah.
As of this morning, I mean, you had the Mass Effect trilogy.
Yeah.
Basically, was remastered, and I, as a side note, as a big fan of those games, it's one of my favorite trilogies. You can tell that it is just a remaster, especially Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
Fantastic on PlayStation 5. It's running at 60 FPS, full 4K. And then you watch, and you're like, wow, this is the dumbest AI. And this is the clunkiest feeling game I've ever played.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I wanted a bit more.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to say for remakes. I prefer remakes over remasters. Typically, I think remasters are more of a money grab.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we'll get into it later, but we're about to have The Last of Us released for the third time in 10 years. Like, what is that about? Came out at the end of the PS3. They remastered it a year later for the PS4, and now they're going to remake it from the ground up. I don't know about that.
Just make a better game.
Just make a better game. I think that's a lot to do with the negative response of The Last of Us 2. But
oh, yeah, that did get a lot of heat.
yeah, but we'll get into that later. But, like, another thing when we're talking about remakes, and I left this out, is Demon Souls. And I think I should not have left that out because that's a really good example of something that was updated modern, that's done really well.
Very faithful remake. Yeah. I never played the OG one, but playing the new one, there's a lot of quality of life. Quality of life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna burp. Sorry. There's a lot of quality of life updates.
Yeah.
And so it's like you have it's very much the same game, but like they have like the UI is totally different, a lot better. I mean, I guess load times. That's I don't know if that would be. That's not like you're not expecting that in a remake.
Yeah,
I don't think.
That's
just a hardware type of deal.
Yeah.
So, but no, yeah, you're exactly right. That's a fantastic remake. I think like like you said initially, like all the Pokemon games, you think of like Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
Yeah.
Like those are definitive Johto region games. Like you don't. I mean, people still play Crystal Gold, Silver. They still play all of those.
Typically, they play
the DS ones.
Yeah.
The Gen 4 remakes of Gen 2.
Yep.
And so.
And then some other games that I left out, and I don't know why I did. I mean, these are games that I talk about a lot. I was just talking to my brother earlier. Are the Resident Evil 2 and 3 that just got remastered?
Oh yeah.
You know, or remade. Sorry. Here we go. See, confusing. Remade from the ground up. You know, with none of the old code, just completely redone. And I haven't played either of them. I heard 2 everybody loved. 3 cut a lot of the stuff out of the original.
Yeah, it was
that it
very
had.
decisive.
It was very
divisive.
And it was very short in comparison and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, and we've got these kind of remakes, like you said before, is there's a way to do them well, and there's a way to really make people angry because they're a touchy subject because of nostalgia. Yeah. So example is kind of when, and we talked about this 2 weeks ago, is Ratchet and Clank 2016, which we were talking before this, is technically neither of these. It's a movie tie-in game. It's not a reboot, not a remaster, not a remake. It's a movie tie-in game of the movie that came out in 2016 that I never watched. I played the game.
Who cares about the freaking Ratchet Clank movie?
No, I never watched it. But it's a very sensitive thing to go back and do because there's people that will end up liking them and there's people that won't. And just like you didn't like the Ratchet and Clank remake because it lost something that it had. It lost part of the personality
Yeah.
during that process.
Yeah, no, it's really hard. I feel like the people that a remaster, I feel like it goes remaster, remake, reboot
Yeah.
in terms of difficulty from easiest to
Oh
hardest.
yeah.
Because remaster is literally just throwing a fresh coat of paint on it. You
Yeah.
don't have to do anything. Just say it's remastered. That's
Yep.
probably, I would imagine when Skyward Sword comes out later in the year,
Yeah.
that's probably what Skyward Sword is going to be. There may be a couple of things, but the base of it is just going to be pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah, I think really the only thing they added in the Skyward Sword, and I never played the original, so I could be completely wrong, but I watched the news press or whatever, the press conference, and I think the only thing they changed was they changed you can still use motion controls.
Yeah,
but
but
they
you
changed
can
it to use the stick now.
which
Yeah.
is very interesting.
Yeah.
But even that is it's pretty much the same game. It's just
Yeah.
a different mechanic.
That's more of just like we were saying before, a quality of life update.
Yeah. So it's like a remaster. All you got to do is fresh coat of paint. Remake, man, I don't know. Remakes and reboots, I feel like they're kind of neck and neck.
Yeah.
1 and 2
Yep.
of difficulty. Because I feel like with reboots, you're having to you have sort of like some building blocks.
Yeah.
But you have to kind of make it from there.
Yeah.
If it's too similar, then it's pretty much just a remake.
Yeah.
But if you want to reboot something, you
Yeah.
kind of have to start something brand new with old stuff,
Yeah.
which I think is really difficult. But then like a remake, you kind of like you were talking about, you have to thread that needle
Yeah.
of being faithful
Yeah.
while still making it not feel like that old game.
Yeah.
That's really hard to do.
Because exactly, and it's hard to go back and play old games a lot of the time.
Mhm.
Like I have good memories of a lot of games, specifically like N64 games. A lot of them, and it's mostly because of the N64 controller, so hard to play. So when they get a modern update, like
Yeah.
the Super Mario 64 on the Switch, is so much better to play than it is on the N64.
Mhm.
And things like that is if they would have remade it completely, it would have lost some of the charm. But you're right, and it's got they threaded it to where I'm losing my train of thought a little bit here, but I'm sitting here reading this article about Final Fantasy VII, but that was going to be my next thing to talk about. But yeah, it was still the original and just had a small amount of updates to it, unlike a remake would have been, from the ground up. So
yeah, I think of specifically in terms of remakes, I think of Bluepoint. They're the ones that took the lead over Demon Souls. They took the lead over Shadow of the Colossus. People,
yeah, that's another remake.
Yeah. People love the job that they did.
Mhm.
And I never played Demon Souls on PS3. But from stuff that I've heard and you go on YouTube for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're going to see hundreds of videos of
Yep.
people that played Demon Souls being like, this is phenomenal.
Yep.
I don't know how they did it. I mean, it's a good game. Like
Yeah.
just from the outside looking in, it's a good game.
Mhm.
It's a really good game. But the way that they were able to keep the same atmosphere, the same general vibe,
Yep.
the same stupid difficulty, and the same hidden bullcrap mechanics that if you don't know what they
Yeah.
are, you're not enjoying the whole game.
Yeah.
While still, like I said just a couple minutes ago, making those quality of life changes and making it feel more modern. I mean, even they changed the name for the stuff. Like they have to enhance your weapon with magic. It used to be sticky white stuff. And of course, everybody just memed the crap out of that.
Yeah.
So they changed it to sticky white slime, which people are still memeing the crap out of because it's not that much better.
No.
But yeah, so it's like you really have got to thread the needle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think of a bad remake off the top of my head. I can't necessarily think of one.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that came out that I have played.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that there's something of the NES, the NES, and the Super NES days
Yeah.
that have gotten remade that people don't like. But as of remakes that I've played, all of them have been pretty good. Specifically, me is like specifically something that I was really into and really looking forward to is the Spyro remake, the Reignited trilogy, which we talked about 2 episodes ago, so I won't really go into detail with that. But that's something that I was really looking forward to, and I think this is not something that I thought about before we started, but as we were sitting here talking about reboots, remakes, remasters, I was sitting here thinking Spyro is a remake through and through. That's a remake. It's faithful from the ground up, and it follows the exact same story as the 3 games. They just added a ton of new stuff, like not new stuff as in like new levels, but it was like new dragons. Like all of them have different personality, new voice acting, things like that, new soundtrack, and things like that are just modernizing it along, of course, with a new art style and all that. Then you have Crash, the Insane trilogy, which started as a remake, but you could technically count that trilogy as a reboot because it set a new launching place for Crash 4. Then, this is what I didn't think about when we were talking about this before we started recording, is God of War is technically a reboot because it's a new place for players to jump in that haven't played the last 3 games.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
You don't need to. It's not a remake, but it's a reboot. It's one of the games that doesn't blur those lines. Like, so you got Spyro that doesn't blur the lines of remake and reboot because it's pure remake. God of War is a pure reboot. Like, it doesn't erase the last games.
Yeah, but you don't need to.
You don't need to. It has a whole new jumping off point, and it's a whole new trilogy. So that is a reboot through and through, and that's something I didn't think about before this.
Yeah, that's entirely right. I didn't think about that either. I personally get a little confused in the difference, and you and I were actually talking about the difference between my thought of a reboot and your thought, and I think that you're more accurate. I'm kind of thinking of it as more of a franchise shaking
like a business
tree
relaunch.
Yeah. Which kind of, I mean, not. I was gonna say the new God of War kind of is like that.
Yeah.
Because it did kind of shake. It started shaking the tree again, but not enough to where it was. Because I know that game was in development for freaking eons.
Yes, almost 10 years, I think.
Yeah. So, going back to looking at remakes, trying to think of some bad ones. When Dark Souls, the first Dark Souls, got the remake, people don't like it. People think that it's trash because it's got the same like Garbo servers. It doesn't look graphically all that better, and they didn't really do enough to really make it feel like a brand new. What am I trying to say? They didn't do enough to make it feel like something different. It felt like you were just getting a fresh new coat of paint. Yeah. So, I guess it's more. I guess it's technically more of a remaster, but people were expecting a remake, and were very disappointed when it was pretty much the same game. Yeah. It still looks bad. Yeah. For what it's worth.
It's funny you say that because you said Dark Souls, right? Yeah, I'm looking at a list right now, and that's number 5 of worst remakes that are worse than the original. Yep. Yeah.
So it's like, and it's so funny that's the most, well, I don't know if that came out or if Sekiro, the Katana one. If
Sekiro is pretty new, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
if that came out, honestly, I mean, no, I guess you can't call that a reboot. That's not a reboot. So I think like a good remake would be Demon Souls, the 2020 Demon Souls. A bad remake would be the Dark Souls well, no, again, I guess it's a remaster. A remake, just off the top of my head, so if we say remake is like Demon Souls or like the Pokemon games like Heart Gold, Soul Silver, a bad one people really hated Alpha Omega Ruby,
Okay.
Alpha Sapphire.
See, I'm reading through this,
Mm-hmm.
and that was on there too. And
Yeah.
I liked those games.
Did you play the original?
I played Emerald after I played those.
Okay.
I didn't ever play the original Ruby and Sapphire, but I played Emerald after. I probably liked Emerald better than either of these, but I had Omega Ruby, and I liked playing that. I thought it was good, but
yeah,
I think a lot of my stuff, just like you liking the original Ratchet and Clank, I like the remaster because I never played the original one, and then this kind of it may be the same way with this. I didn't know what I was missing out on.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was playing second rate.
Well, so I played Sapphire.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen, I haven't played ORS, but if I could play it, I think I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think people didn't like, at the time, they really didn't like how they brought in Mega Evolutions, because people didn't like Mega Evolutions, which, man, they're the reason that we have freaking Dynamax.
They're way better than Dynamax.
It's just so stupid. Just makes a Pokemon big. I hate it so much. But those are kind of the third generation was kind of where a lot of people started with Pokemon.
Yeah.
You have the Gen 1ers, you have Gen 2 people, which are just freaking ingrates.
Yeah.
But then you have the people that started on Gen 3, and that's, I mean, like, most people that I talk to that are my age, which are like mid-20s, that's their first Pokemon game.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
Emerald, Sapphire, Ruby. And people just felt like it was too far it was almost a reboot instead of a full remake. It wasn't enough to be a reboot.
Yeah.
But it wasn't close enough to be a remake.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still considered a remake, and so people really hated it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a complex way to explain the difference between the remakes. I'm thinking like a good remaster.
Okay. I'm looking at this too.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about bad remakes, Star Wars Battlefront. Forgot about that.
The first or second one?
Neither of them were good. Second one is good now. Neither of them were good at launch. First one's still not good.
Is it bad? I haven't played those games. Is it bad because of mechanics? Is it bad because of the paywall?
So the first one didn't have a paywall, and it had okay mechanics, not as good as the second one. There was just like, it was so boring. There was no.
Was it?
Okay. It did have bad mechanics because you couldn't just jump in a starfighter like you used to be able to and stuff like that.
Oh,
you had
yeah,
to
that was
pick
so
up a
much
card
fun.
and summon the starfighter and do all this weird stuff.
Yeah.
It had like 3 maps. Its
Really?
whole life cycle. Yeah, and like 3 modes.
Wow.
Not good. And like 6 guns. It sucked.
That does suck.
Second one is good now. It wasn't good originally because of the paywall. But the first Battlefront had no content. Really bad comparing it to the first Battlefront on the PS2. I forgot that those even existed.
Yeah.
So, especially the first one. And then
Yeah.
Doom, super good remakes.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Anyway.
Yeah, the Doom ones are really good.
Didn't mean to derail you there. I
No.
just was looking through this, just curious about other stuff. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a good remaster from what I played, and I've played 50 minutes of the Mass Effect trilogy, and I've had it for hours, and it's solely because I'm a freak when it comes to a character creator, and I will spend an hour creating him. I'll be like, all right, I think I'm good. I'll load in. I'll watch one cutscene. I'm like, damn it, restart.
Yeah.
And I'll just restart the whole thing. I probably put in, I have logged in, played 50 minutes. I have probably played the game over 6 hours. And I
really
just finished the first area that takes
cow.
most people like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Just because I'm
That's
such
crazy.
a freak
That's crazy.
about it. But from what I've played, it seems like a good remaster. Like they did what you want a remaster to do, in that, especially for this type of a game. For this type of a game that's got such a cult following, that was so big when it first came out.
Yeah.
People really wanted, for Mass Effect 1, they kind of wanted it to feel not horrible like Mass Effect 1 felt. Story-wise is phenomenal. Gameplay-wise, absolute dog crap. but they threw a fresh coat of paint on it. Looks beautiful, and they changed it enough to where it's still the exact same game, story wise and lore and all that stuff. But it feels a whole lot better. It feels more modern.
Yeah.
And so even just in the 50 minutes that I played, as somebody who loved that trilogy, they did a phenomenal job, or have, at least to my knowledge, so far done a phenomenal job on the first game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're the person to ask too. I'm definitely not. I never played any of them. So if you think they're good, I have a lot of people at work talking about it right now. I was like, I don't know.
It is a big deal, man. That trilogy. When I was in high school, I spent the entirety of a spring break. You know, like most people, like when they're in high school, especially, I think it was my junior year. So around junior year, most kids are like going out to the beach with their friends, just getting sloshed. I got into my basement, locked my bedroom door, and that's all I did.
Yeah.
For like 20 hours a day.
Yep.
I just played Mass Effect.
Yep.
And it was phenomenal. And it was the best freaking spring break of my life, bar none.
Yep.
And I've been on cruises. I've been to phenomenal beaches and stayed in beach houses for spring break trips. Nothing will beat me, myself, and the Mass Effect trilogy. Yeah. And they did a really good job remastering it. So
sometimes you can't beat that. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Now in terms of like a bad remaster, what do you think?
We're talking about remaster, not remake.
Remaster, yeah.
Bad remaster. So scrolling through these lists, I see a lot of people saying Majora's Mask 3D, Super Mario 64 3D are bad. And I've played the originals. I've never beaten either of those originally, but they're talking about the 3DS ports, 3DS remasters.
Really?
And from what I've seen from things that I've watched on YouTube, people like those. So I'm surprised on these lists where they're saying, no, these are bad, these are bad, these are bad. So, like, they're saying, let's see here. They're saying that Super Mario 64 3D, Wind Waker HD is on the best column.
Yeah.
So I think everybody really likes those.
That was, from what I heard, that like they did a really good job with the home console remasters, which hopefully they do for Skyward Sword, but people hated Skyward Sword's guts.
It's going to be funny if it comes out and people like the remaster and they hated the original game. Like,
dude,
I don't know how that's going to happen because
there's no way.
It's pretty faithful.
Because they hated the biggest thing that people, and I mean, we've talked about this, the biggest thing that they hate about Skyward Sword is just the linearity of it, which is 100% valid. It is a straight shot, and you have no...
Yeah.
Outside of, if you're not just barreling down the main quest, it's up until Breath of the Wild, it was the most open, side quest filled Zelda game to date.
Yeah.
So it's like, that would be freaking hilarious if you have all the freaking
now everybody loves
losers that are just like, oh, the game sucks. You know, like they're all like 12 playing it and they're trying to talk like they understand what they're talking about.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that game! Do you remember Skyward Sword got a perfect 10 out of 10 on IGN?
Yeah.
Like Skyrim didn't even get that, and people were literally nerding on the floor the moment they started playing Skyrim.
Yeah, I can understand Skyrim not getting a 10 out of 10.
Well, yeah, but can you
I don't know. I never played
That's
Skyward
true.
Sword. Yeah,
that's true. I can't understand it.
Yeah,
like
they gave Breath of the Wild a 10. I think that deserved a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think looking back, it's not a 10 out of 10, but in the moment and for what it did in terms of like totally, I mean, in some ways, I feel like Breath of the Wild is kind of a reboot.
I was getting ready to say that was going to be my next comment. Is every Zelda game that starts a new timeline or a new like link that's not a sequel, are those reboots? I feel like. I
guess so, because
like they are.
They pretty much. That's like. So you have Oracle of Season and Oracle of Ages. I'm pretty sure are kind of like. They're not sequels.
But they're in the same world, right?
Kind of, yeah, to an extent. I think. I don't know.
Let me see which ones those are. Let's see.
Um.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Is this the Game Boy Advance?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that those are paired because in one of them there's one of the, I forget what they are. You've got the one of the seasons.
Yeah. You can change the seasons.
Missing, and like one of the, they're not wizards because they're girls, but like the little magic girls. I think it's this game.
The data. Yeah, there's supposed to be 3.
Yeah, but in one game,
got cut.
one of them's missing, and then another game, a different one's missing, and the other one's there. Something. It's like.
It was supposed to be all 3. There's
Yeah.
supposed to be Oracle of Seasons, Ages, and then it was, I don't remember what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, that's
It was
right.
supposed to be something else. And they were you needed to play all 3 to get the final
That's
ending.
right. Yeah, that's right.
But then they cut the third one because they're like, okay, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, they're a pair pretty much. It's kind of like 2 Pokemon games.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
getting red and blue.
That's a good way to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's they're kind of in the same world, but they're also a little bit separate.
Yeah.
And then you've got, I mean, so Ocarina of Time.
Let's hear it.
OST. No. OOT. OOT. OST is original soundtrack. Oot and are sequels.
Yeah.
And then you have Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass are sequels.
Yep. And then, okay, so
I think the first one. No.
is the Minish Cap in the same timeline as Four Swords? It's the same animation.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely not sequels. I don't think. I think it's in the same general world.
Yeah.
Because
This
it's
is really
definitely
awesome.
they're at like the top of the timeline. Like
Yeah.
at the very beginning.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
They're
sure.
right under Skyward Sword.
Yeah, it's like Skyward
They're 2
Sword
and 3.
and then bang bang. Yeah. Is it Minish Cap first or is it Four Swords
Minish
first?
Cap.
Okay. Yeah, because they're all about the Four Sword, and then you get Four Swords, and then out of nowhere it's like gone Master Sword, and you're like, oh jeez, I don't know what just happened.
Which one is the one where you're just riding a horse, like Link's Target Training?
Link's Crossbow.
That is
Training.
my favorite timeline. It's my favorite.
That's the one
Zelda
they have
game.
Linkle too. They introduced Linkle, and people were like flipping out.
This is kind of a tangent off the main topic.
Well, I mean, we're talking like most of the Zelda games.
I think they do count as reboots.
are reboots.
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah. And like I don't know of another franchise that has so many reboots. I mean, the next Breath of the Wild 2 is not going to be, of course.
No, but
reboot.
I bet either the next one is going to be a different somewhere in the timeline, or it's going to be a third. They've never had 3 in a row, right? I guess they did in like the original games,
Maybe.
but
I can't remember.
I can't.
I mean,
remember.
home console. If you went, you would go Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild. So home consoles have always been a reboot, but they were not.
Yeah.
In between. You know, if you had Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, in between Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. I don't know if you had Phantom Hourglass.
Phantom Hourglass, I think, was before Wind Waker, right?
No.
Okay, after.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a sequel.
Okay.
Yeah. But
shows how much I know.
yeah.
I play many Zelda games.
Loser. Freaking wannabe Bojack. I don't know what that means, but you freaking all you play are Breath of the Wild.
All right. You know a good remaster?
What's that?
Super Mario 3D World.
See, people hate that.
Nobody hates that.
The collective?
That's the 3D, not the.
Oh, that's
not
All
the,
Stars.
Yeah, not 3D All Stars.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Super Mario 3D World, the
Mhm.
one that was on the Wii U, and has like, they made a bunch of control updates that make it so much better.
Well, let's go back to that.
Okay.
Let's finish talking about reboots, and then that kind of goes into something that.
Yeah.
So if you look at Zelda, a lot of those games are reboots.
Yes.
And they're really good reboots.
Yeah.
If you want to consider the 2016 Ratchet and Clank a reboot, which you can,
Yeah.
I think that's a really bad reboot because it's the story was nothing to write home about.
No,
it was good
in
the original.
It was pretty much non-existent in the remake.
But even in the original, like it was all right. It was funny.
Yeah.
The game was funny.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, nobody's crying at the end of Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
But then they really sort of took that like cult following because those early PS2 games have a cult following.
Yes.
And they kind of just threw it out the window. At least that's what I felt like as somebody who was a part of that cult following.
Yeah.
It just felt like they were like, oh, whatever. We'll just
Yeah. So looking back on it, it was definitely a movie game, and they were making it for kids that went to go see the movie, and you could tell. And the old one, they definitely didn't make it for people in their 20s that had played the originals. And I don't know if they could get away with making the originals in 2020 or 2016. Like
the OG.
Yeah, like with the way that they were, and just like I feel like that wouldn't sell as well. Like Conquer,
Probably not.
like imagine trying to sell Conquer now. Like you can
Like
sell GTA somehow, but
Bad Fur Day?
Yeah.
You mean? Okay.
I just don't think that kind of
No.
humor and all of that.
It's very adult humor
Yeah.
and something geared towards children.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like I just feel like
Because of Spider-Man and Elsa.
what?
Have you seen the YouTube videos where it's like a weird genre of like
Spider-Man and Elsa.
yeah, if you look up on YouTube like Spider-Man and Elsa,
Look this up.
I mean you don't want to watch it,
Okay.
but parents are getting pissed or have been getting pissed because there's like
Spider-Man and
thousands.
Elsa break up real
Yeah.
life.
yeah, just like crap like that where it's like somebody in like a Spider-Man morph suit and it's all like wacky crazy. Whoa, look at this! Whoa.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like
Top comment is I give my little sister my phone for 3 minutes and I come back to this.
yeah, exactly. It's just like super weird, and I mean like now everything, and we've already talked about this, but how like everything is much more round, everything is much more like safe.
Yeah.
Like you can't be as edgy, like
Yeah.
literal edgy. In
Polygons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't be as edgy anymore.
Yeah.
But you also edgy doesn't sell as well as it used to.
Yeah.
Because it sold like hotcakes.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, but now it's like nobody wants to play anything edgy.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get accused of being racist.
Yep.
And nobody wants that when they're 14.
Nobody what?
Nobody wants that when they're 14.
When they're 14?
Yeah.
I don't.
They just want Spider-Man and Elsa breaking up real life.
That's right.
Giving their phone to the 3-year-old
Yep.
sister, brother, and Elsa.
Giving their phone to Elsa.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But anyway.
Yeah. So, if going back, if you want to consider that Ratchet and Clank a reboot,
Yeah.
I think that that's a bad reboot.
That's fair. I mean, I still had fun with the game, but I can
Yeah.
accept that.
Yeah.
I can accept that. I would probably think the same thing if I went back and played the originals. Like, I would take it very personal if Jack and Daxter came out and, like, Daxter just loses all of his charm. And
He
and
looks
humor.
like an actual, like, squirrel.
Well, he looks like a squirrel. He loses his eye animations that were very
Yeah.
expressive, and he loses, like, Ratchet in 2016. Ratchet and Clank was very different than Ratchet.
Oh, my gosh.
He was very nice.
Yeah.
I remember. Okay, so now that I'm thinking back, I remember buying the game, starting it up, and I was like, I thought this was supposed to be like an edgy.
Yeah.
Ratchet's supposed to be like a almost not anti-hero, but almost. And like
pseudo, yeah.
and in this, not like Shadow the Hedgehog.
especially near the middle of the game,
Yeah.
he just becomes like he becomes a pseudo anti-hero.
Yeah. But then in the new one, he's just this happy-go-lucky furry.
Sure thing. Mr. What's his name? What's the
don't know.
first guy?
You talking about the guy
Quark.
in the hangar?
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
it?
Quark.
That's not Captain
No,
Quark.
that's not. Captain Quark is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Spoilers. But I agree. So if Ratchet and Clank came out, I mean, if Jack and Daxter came out now and they they took away Daxter's, because Daxter's humor with all the female characters, I don't think would fly now either.
Absolutely not.
And if they took that away, then it wouldn't. I would feel like it was a totally different game.
Mm-hmm. It'd be like if Jack started talking.
That would
You'd be like, what?
We started talking in 2, right? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but at that point, people were just like, all right, whatever. It'd be like if they remade Jack and Daxter, the first one came back out.
Yeah.
And Jack started talking, and it was like Morgan Freeman. You're like, what? What are you talking about?
That'd be
freaking nuts.
That'd be very weird.
It'd be nuts.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I can accept it being bad. I would feel the same way if I would have played the original, but I didn't. So, the gameplay was good though.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. It was the part that I played, and to be, I've said this again a number of times. I only played it for maybe 2 hours and was like, yeah, this is not the game that I wanted to play, and immediately deleted it.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to talk about some of these good remakes, some of these bad remakes, good remaster, bad remaster, good reboot, bad reboot. Because I feel like we're in a season of video game life where everything is being redone, remade, remastered, reboot.
I think that has to do with us going into our mid to late 20s, and they're marketing it towards us being adults. They're using nostalgia against us.
They are. And they're generally pissing a lot of people off.
Yeah,
I feel like you hear more people getting pissed off at a franchise coming back. I mean, it's kind of the same with movies.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like people were pissed off. I always think of Toy Story. Like Toy Story 1 and 2, great movies.
Yeah.
Toy Story 3, okay, not bad, not great. And then Toy Story 4, I heard was pretty bad.
I like that one better than the third one, actually.
Toy Story 4?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Did you like it better than 1 and 2?
No.
Yeah. Case in point.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. Didn't even come close.
Same thing with Shrek. Shrek 1 and 2, great movies. Yeah. Shrek 3 did not need to happen. They made a Shrek 4. Well, there's so much Shrek!
Yeah. It's just to get your wallet.
It's just to get your wallet. So it's like we see these games, kind of like that you pointed out, The Last of Us being redone for the third time. When did it come out originally? 2013? That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good game. I've never played it. I've heard people say it's a phenomenal game.
It's a good game.
That's insane. In 7 years.
Yeah. So I think it blows my mind that Uncharted had a collection come out on the PS4 with 1, 2, and 3 in it. And it was their quote-unquote HD remaster. Still look like garbage. Uncharted 1, and it is very dated. So 2013, The Last of Us comes out. And then the PS4 came out. It came out in June because I just turned 17. It was the first M-rated game I ever bought by myself. And because it came out like right after my birthday, like the day after. And I remember I walked in, I'm like shaking as I handed my ID.
That's how I was when I went to a bar. I was like,
shoot, I'm just buying a video game. So it came out in June, I think, and then the PS3 came out in November. PS4 came out in November.
Yeah.
The Last of Us remaster. So I get it. It had a really small window on the PS3. Yeah. So they had to kind of port it over. Just like, Spider-Man came out in 2017. But it had a really short lifespan on the PS3. So they had to make a PS4 version. And it came with all the DLC, I think. It came with the Left Behind DLC and all that.
Okay.
And it had new lighting effects, just like Spider-Man on the PS5, where it looks, or God of War. It looks, they didn't resell God of War, though. That's a big, it's a big deal. Spider-Man resold its whole thing, and it was like,
Yeah.
But anyway, both of those games just re-released to use the better hardware with better lighting, 60 FPS. I don't think The Last of Us Remastered was 60. I think it was 30.
Like for PS4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if anything,
because that was 2014.
That early.
Yeah.
PS4, nothing was 60.
So they had to remake it. I get that. because it didn't have time to sell. But they're remaster it. But they're remaking it from the ground up. Ground up. This is like it's the equivalent of Link's Awakening, which is old, getting a remaster last 2 years ago, or these Pokemon games.
Yeah.
Old getting a remaster.
Yeah.
Or Ratchet and Clank or Crash. It's like, this is not time for this. And they've got other, Naughty Dog has other IPs. Jak and Daxter is sitting there ripe for the picking with all this platformers coming back.
Yeah.
Just like we talked about. They're ready to go. And they're just like, nah, we're just going to redo The Last of Us. Uncharted 1 could really, really, really benefit from a remaster. And just remaster it and have, Uncharted remastered. I would buy that. Plenty of people. It has a huge following. A movie is coming out. Why would they not take advantage of I guess The Last of Us has an HBO show. But, the Tom Holland, Nathan Drake movie is coming out like next year. And or maybe later this year. It's done filming.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah, because I'm sorry. I was just thinking about Last of Us.
Yeah.
The movie. It's got the
Mandalorian guy.
Mandalorian guy.
Yeah. The guy that plays Mandalorian is playing Joel. Pretty sure.
What?
Pretty sure.
Mandalorian cast. Because I thought that it was the guy. Oh my gosh. Pedro Pascal?
Yeah, he's playing Joel.
He's a Mandalorian?
Yeah, he's the Mandalorian.
What?
Have you never watched The Mandalorian?
No, I did.
Yeah.
I saw him take off his thing.
Yeah.
Totally did not even recognize him.
Yeah.
You serious?
Yeah.
What?
How did you not know this?
That's bonkers.
Yeah.
I looked at his face. Mandalorian, not helmet. Holy nuts. That's freaking him.
I told you.
Well, it's not that I didn't believe you. I just didn't believe you.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, he's
Joel. He's a phenomenal actor.
Oh, he's so good.
If it was almost anybody else, I probably wouldn't care. Now I'm like, okay. I think just because I love, what's his name? I don't even remember his name. Pedro Pascal. He's a phenomenal actor. I will watch it just for him.
Yeah. I know. I love his movies. I love his acting.
He's a great actor. Not as good as Big Lips.
Who's Big Lips? All the way back to Sam Witwer. My master.
What did you will, my master? Yeah. Big Lips.
Yeah, so I guess they have a show coming out, so it makes sense. But
going back to
The Last of Us getting remastered. Sorry.
No, yeah.
Going back to The Last of Us getting remade from the ground up. They've got a show coming out next. Series premiere 2021.
Wow.
It comes out this year. Wow.
That's nuts.
Well, I guess it comes out this year. According to IMDb, Uncharted, I think, comes out next year. But I feel like that is way more deserving of a remake than The Last of Us. But like I said at the beginning of this, Uncharted doesn't have a release date. But like I said at the beginning of this, I think that it is because of bad sales. Uncharted never really had bad reviews. It had people that didn't like some of the games. A lot of people didn't like the third one. A lot of people loved the second one. Mediocre back and forth on the fourth. Yeah. I really like the fourth one. I like the second one the best, but the fourth one, I think I really like the story. I think it had the best writing. But I think that it's because people didn't like the second game, and it was super controversial, and they're looking for a way to make the Last of Us brand be more positive in a more positive light.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I never played it, and I've stayed away from spoilers, so I don't know why people don't like it. I know there was it was very political why people didn't like it on both sides. One side loved it, one side didn't. I don't have an opinion on that. For one, I didn't play it, and two, it sounded like something that I really don't get why it was so heated. So yeah, I think that it's a marketing scheme to get it back in good favor.
Yeah. Well, all of that kind of leads back to this question of like, what does it take for a game to deserve to be redone? Because I think that we would both agree that having The Last of Us for a third console, and it would be one thing.
It's like Skyrim, where our kids are
no,
going
yeah,
playing Skyrim. Todd Howard's
that's
Skyrim
a phenomenal example because Todd Howard is we blame Todd Howard. It's probably not Todd Howard.
No,
Todd Howard is a greedy scumbag, and he's just gonna keep on redoing Skyrim and all this stuff for us. But like, yeah. So I mean, like Skyrim, The Last of Us, they're on like 14 consoles at this point. How long does a game need to be sitting in the vault, and how big does it need to have been to actually warrant something new? So like, not so much reboots, but remakes and remasters. Because I just thinking about Mass Effect, right? First Mass Effect 2007, second Mass Effect 2010, third Mass Effect 2012. Then they had Andromeda 2017. Still pissed off that I paid for the Legendary Edition. I didn't get anything for my $15. I was so pissed.
You could say you spent money on it.
Oh, freaking so. So, you know, with the most recent of the trilogy of the first three coming out in 2012, that was almost 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, that's not super long ago, but we've gone through a whole generation,
right,
where these games were only backwards compatible. Because that's an entirely even different thing of people making games backwards compatible. It's not a remake. I guess that's just a port. Yeah. So like the whole reason we haven't talked about a port is just because it's
like God of War on PS5. It's a port.
Exactly. They just port it straight over. That's everything that's backwards compatible is port and online or cloud-based emulator type of deals. But just thinking about like I guess technically the Legendary Edition technically came out for Xbox One and PS4 and didn't come out for next gen. But you can play it on next gen. You can play it at its full res stuff because it's listed as Xbox One and PS4.
Okay.
Because when I bought it, I was farts. Did I buy the wrong version? I spent $60 on the wrong version. So,
Legendary Edition, is that all three of them?
Mm-hmm. That's Mass Effect 1, 2, 3.
I don't know that. It's currently the best reviewed game of the year right now.
That's
crazy.
Yeah, all it had to do was just make the game look better and fix some mechanics about Mass Effect 1.
It's got a huge
and it was going to be game of
base.
the year.
Yeah.
It's such a good trilogy.
Yeah.
But especially Mass Effect 1 and honestly Mass Effect 2, it was over a decade ago.
Yeah. So, but these are remasters. This is a remastered collection. This is not a remake. So my opinion on remasters is if you can upscale them to be at a better resolution and you've got a fan base that wants them in a collection. So I think a collection warrants a remaster. So this is a trilogy. Up-res, whatever, to 1080, 4K, whatever, to take advantage of the newer hardware. And they're selling it all for $60. That, I think, is fine. And I think that's fine to do, like you said, we've skipped a generation pretty much. You could get it on PS4, Xbox One, and everything. But you pretty much, the other ones are a decade old, 1 and 2. That, I think, is totally warranted. I don't think something remade from the ground up is warranted if it is not something that has been long dead. So, like, does that make sense? You get what I'm saying?
I think so. Give me your example.
So, like you're saying, a remaster. Mass Effect has been around. It's had Andromeda. It's had all this stuff. But they're just getting They're just getting an HD remaster port, like with some quality of life stuff in a collection.
Yeah.
Just like Uncharted did on the PS4. All the games were on the PS3, 1, 2, and 3. It got a collection on the PS4. Jak and Daxter got a collection on the PS4. Sly got a collection on the PS3. Those are just remaster collections.
Sly's collection was on PS3?
Yeah. And because I've got it over there on the shelf. Since they're all PS2 games. I don't know. Well, I think Jak and Daxter did too, but they re-released them. Sly was never as big as Jak.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about something like Ratchet and Clank remake, or we're talking about something Spyro remake, those games were on the PlayStation 1. They came out in the 90s. Like the last one was in like 99, the last game in the trilogy.
Yeah.
So it's been 20 plus years.
Double as long as
and
some of the Mass Effect.
Yeah, but that's a ground up remake.
Mm.
Like that's not a remaster. So it's like it's way more justified. If The Last of Us was getting remastered for PS5, that would be fine.
That'd be one thing, yeah.
It's getting they're putting all the resources to make a brand new game with The Last of Us. So I think that a remaster can happen once a generation. If it's a good selling game, they can say, okay, we're going to take advantage of this hardware if people still want to buy it in a collection. And I think a remastered collection is totally...
so you think... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, so you're sort of thinking that they should be kind of separated in categories. Like, it's more understandable for a game to get a remaster than it is for a game to get a remake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
that
at least
sense.
when it's, like, recent.
Well, yeah. That's what I mean. So, like, if Skyrim were to get a remake, that would be kind of like...
Skyrim came out in 2011, so it's just 10 years old.
That'd be kind of the same thing with The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Because it was on 6th generation, or 7th, for
7th,
for 2 years, and then immediately got a port.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately got a sort of a remaster in the Legendary Edition.
Yeah.
Another redoing it for freaking, which I don't know how you can make Skyrim not look like Skyrim unless you mod the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, of course, you see mods on online where you're like, wow, that's Skyrim. And then I feel like it's legit just gonna be more God rays. Like that was their big thing on like Xbox One and PlayStation 4. It was like God rays, and chug your console down to like 2 FPS.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna like open up the Skyrim or whatever. Open up the Skyrim. You're gonna open up Skyrim, and it's just gonna be like you're not gonna be able to see anything. It's just gonna be too many freaking God rays and lens flares.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that a remaster is totally viable in 5 to I'd say 7 years, because that's usually the life cycle of a generation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a reboot and remaster are one and the same as far as timeline in my mind. Like, again, Final Fantasy VII, Demon Souls. How old's Demon Souls came out on the PS3 though?
Demon Souls came out in like 2008 or 9, I think.
See that. But that's what I'm saying though. Uncharted came out at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It came out 2009. Uncharted, totally fine to get a remaster.
Yeah.
Or a remake, I mean. The Last of Us, and I guess that's only 3 years older than The Last of Us, but I feel like because The Last of Us mostly had its presence on the PS4, a lot of people didn't play it until PS4.
Never felt like a PS3 game.
Never to me. When I think of it, I think of the PS4 version. I played the PS3 version. I beat it, but I played the PS4 version, and it seemed like this is the real version. This is what they meant it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so it feels weird to me to be getting a ground-up remake. And it's still getting sequels. So I feel like it's weird for a game to get a remaster.
That is very strange.
Sequels.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
The sequel just came out.
Yeah,
like
last year. Last July. It's not really even a year old.
That's really weird.
So, I think it was July, but it was sometime spring, summer, or something. That's the other thing is I feel like it's weird to remaster something when it's not a franchise. Sorry, I keep getting my words wrong. Remake. If it's not a franchise that has been put in a vault, it's weird to remake it.
Okay.
Demon Souls kind of went away for a little bit and became Bloodborne and Dark Souls and stuff like that. And then they were like, okay, we're going to redo Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Crash went away. Ratchet went away.
Mm.
Spyro went away.
Well, kind of.
Ratchet
had so many freaking games.
Yeah. But it was nothing on the PS4 except for remastered. So it kind of, and they eventually just became spinoffs, and Crash became a bunch of spinoffs too.
Yeah.
But like the originals just went away And now
The heart and
Uncharted
soul, yeah.
is gone. And Uncharted is a finished series that could have a remaster of the first game.
Mm.
The Last of Us just had its sequel come out.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That is really weird.
And it'd be one thing, like, I wouldn't think it was weird for the original God of War to be remade at this point. But the original trilogy is so far separated from the new trilogy that we're getting, I think that they could justifiably remaster the old ones because they're so separate.
Mm-hmm.
But with The Last of Us just being 1 and 2 and so connected, it's weird. It's just weird to me.
No, yeah, that is weird.
So that's like the weird, like every other one I can kind of, that's the weirdest remake that I have heard of.
Mm-hmm.
All the other games I can kind of be like, okay, makes sense. But anyway.
So would you consider, I guess this is kind of a question for the first stuff that we were talking about, would you consider the new Diamond and Pearl a remake or remaster? Because it's the exact same story, or at least we're told it's the exact same story.
I would consider it a remake because the animation's totally different.
That's what I would agree with.
And it's got a ton of updates. Like we talked about before, I think it was our first episode. We talked about, are they going to include what, HMTMs?
National Dex
and which one is it that sucks? Is it HMs or TMs? I get confused. HMs suck.
Yeah.
So, and they pointed out in the press conference, we've made modernized updates because HMs don't exist in modern games.
Yeah, thank God.
And we've made and so we were talking like, are they going to do that? Because if it's a remaster, all it is a new coat of paint using the better hardware. Mm-hmm. This is totally different from the ground up. Different look, different feel. Like, yeah, it follows the same thing. And you could almost probably consider it a reboot because I bet like ORAS was kind of a reboot, sort of, because it had a little bit of a different storyline.
Yeah.
All of the parallel remasters are a little bit of a reboot.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely consider it more in that realm than a remaster.
Okay.
How about you?
I think it's too early to tell.
Yeah.
I think that if it's true to Diamond and Pearl, which we talked about this back in March, it is our first episode.
Yeah.
We talked about, and I especially talked about, if it's just a truly faithful rendition,
1-to-1,
it's not going to be that good, and it'll just be a remake.
Yeah.
A lot of people are freaking out because in one of the scenes, Dawn is throwing a Pokeball, and she's always had a wristband. Yeah. But everyone's like, "Oh, is that the Dynamax wristband?" It's like, dude, just like go be out in the sun for once.
Yeah.
Like, just shut up. But if they change it up, sort of like how they did with ORAS, then I would agree that it probably would be a remake. But I think with Nintendo being just very tight-fisted about stuff, and granted, E3's coming up in a couple of weeks now. The online
Crazy,
E3.
Yeah. You're right.
I would imagine we're going to hear more about it. I hope we hear more about the freaking Breath of the Wild stuff, but
I hope we hear more about Pokemon Legends.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to hear. I feel like I would be more inclined to think that we're going to hear more about Shining and Brilliant.
Yeah.
Just because
they're coming.
I feel like they're going to do Legends on a Nintendo Direct so that they can have more time and can focus in on it.
Yeah. The last Smash character is going to be announced at E3. Very last one. Sad.
I don't think it's going to be the last.
I don't think so either. I think there'll be another Fighter Pass.
Yeah, there's absolutely going to be another Fighter Pass. Because there's no way that they can make another Smash game. Yeah. Unless they remastered or remade, Smash 64. But then it's like, why do that?
That's basically what every Smash game is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess it's true.
Yeah.
So I think now that we kind of understand remakes, remasters, reboots, I just figured we could spend a couple of minutes just talking about games that we feel like need to be redone. While you freaking sunk.
I just
lowered
my seat
and
like foot
dropped the
whiplash.
Dropped the foot. That was freaking nuts. Is your back okay?
My icy hot's kicking in, but
is it hot?
No, it's still cold.
Really?
Yeah, I put it on before we started an hour ago. Still cold. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not hot. It's kind of. Maybe it is. I just don't feel it because my shirt is kind of damp. Maybe a back
He's just sweating straight through it, and it's like a breeze hitting your back.
sweat. I just think that it's cool. The swelling's gone down.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Everybody knows my medical problems.
I figured that it would be, we could just kind of rapid fire, throw out a couple of games that we think need to be.
DK64.
Absolutely. That is number one.
100%. That's my number one.
That's probably my number one. I've been trying to think of some other games. A game that I talk about, it's got a very small cult following, OG Dark Cloud.
Yep. Yeah.
That,
watching the video with you last week, I would buy it.
if it got redone,
I'd buy it.
if it got remade,
Yeah.
if it was a remaster, I don't think that, and if they sold it for $60, I don't think it'd be worth it.
Yeah.
I think if they remade it,
Yeah.
then it's got it, because it's a cool freaking concept, and the way that they handle it, even for, it was released in I think 01.
Yeah.
Is they did a good job with it. It just looks and feels like sin. And it's bad.
I know.
It's really not good.
When we were watching it last week, I was like,
Yeah,
this is rough.
like the random quick time event.
And
It's
then-
just got like a
it had such like a nice. It had
It's
such a
so
nice
bad.
soundtrack, like a nice
Yeah, it was
dungeon mysterious soundtrack.
that's the first
and then it's,
dungeon,
like,
and the whole
banjo.
time it's like a guitar. Some guy's got like a cigar hanging out.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see this skeleton. He walks up to you like in the, and then it like starts beeping like a mechanic. Beep, 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 beep. And it starts blasting in music. I played it again and I was like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
I remember it being really freaking difficult as a kid. And it was legit. You press 4 buttons. It's a 4-button QuickTime event, and then it's over. And they changed everything for it. I'm like, I don't understand what. But I think that if Dark Cloud was remade, that would be a really freaking good game.
Yeah. Like I said, I'd buy it.
Yeah.
It looked intriguing. I just wouldn't play it right now because it looked clunky. But
It looks. It's very clunky.
Yeah. And I don't even like RPGs, but I would still give it a shot because it looked interesting.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I guess it's an RPG. It's definitely. There's no skills. Yeah. But it's like there are definitely RPG elements. Yeah. So, but yeah. What about you? What
Light RPG. Let's see. I couldn't get through it. I almost got through it without a voice crack. That was.
Oh man.
I wasn't even like.
That's
I wasn't even
freaking
manipulating my voice. For
You
that
were. That was just. You were just
I'm going through
breathing.
puberty.
You're just breathing.
Breathing. It was a wheeze. We'll pass it as I was breathing. All right. So one that I was thinking about is the original Splinter Cell. I think would be a really good remake. I would also like to see. I said before, Uncharted. I would like to see the Sly trilogy remade and the Jak and Daxter trilogy. But
Trilogy or game?
See, I would like to see them have the Spyro treatment. They're a lot bigger than those games, though.
Yeah.
Jak 2 is massive. That game took me a long time to beat. I replayed it last year. It took me like 50 hours or more to beat.
Wow.
Just play. Like, I didn't do everything in it.
Yeah.
I didn't do the collectibles or anything. I started it out, and I was like, this game is huge.
Yeah.
I can 100% Jak 1 in like 15 hours. But
ooh, look at you, top dog.
Well, that's not what I meant.
I
I played it on my PS4 and then I played it on my PS Vita. Because I've got the collection on both of them.
Yeah.
I would like to see maybe Kingdom Hearts get remastered. But I think that series is still going on. They left 3 on a big cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
Remade. See, I keep saying remaster. We're talking about ground up remakes.
I mean, it could be either.
I would like to see. I'm talking remakes.
Okay.
But I may even want to see the original Assassin's Creed remade. Maybe not the original.
I think it. No, remade.
Assassin's Creed 3 got a remaster.
Yeah.
but I'm talking like
No. Yeah, remaster. Sorry. Yeah, I have to think. I'm like, no,
see?
it didn't get. Oh, yes, it did.
I would like to see the original wasn't that good, so maybe.
See, that's a sin. Like, I honestly agree with you.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that play Assassin's Creed would say that that's a sin. Like, granted, it is. Everybody will agree. It's crazy repetitive.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
They're not anywhere near as good as the Ezio trilogy.
No, not even slightly.
No. Those are the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
Black Flag is my favorite, but that's the best trilogy. Best games collectively.
I like Brotherhood.
Yeah. I do like Brotherhood a lot.
Yeah.
So some sort of Assassin's Creed to take us back to our roots. And that Prince of Persia game is getting a remake. And I'm interested. Remake.
Oh, Sands of
Roundup.
Time?
Yeah. And I'm interested to see how that goes. Because I really liked the Prince of Persia games when they were popular. So I'm interested to see how that one goes.
Damn, we had a lot of really good ones.
Rayman 3 or Rayman 2 in 64 PS1 Rayman. Yeah. Also Sonic Adventure.
That would be phenomenal if they kept like the same like facial animations and crap like that, but he looked like a real hedgehog.
Yes.
Like he looked like he was going to look in the Sonic movie, which by the way, that was phenomenal advertising. I think 100 theory.
You think it was planned?
100%.
Really?
That they were going to make him look horrible and have people repulsed by him, just so that they could get enough traction, enough people would be talking about the movie for them to announce, oh, we're going to redo it. And then in 2 months, they've completely redone the character, made him look horribly faithful, like a good faithful.
Yeah.
And just like everything go back to normal.
Yeah.
I think it was 100% planned. If it wasn't, that's insane. If it was, that was some of the best marketing.
You're not wrong.
Period.
You know,
like if you think about it.
That's a good point. How did they redo the whole movie?
Because they had it. They had it in their back pocket. They were just like, all right, we need to give it a hiatus.
Yeah.
And then once people, because they knew enough people were going to be like, whoa, what is that? Because it is a freaky face.
You can't look at it and think it's a good idea.
Nobody thinks that.
No.
And then they're just like, oh, you know what? When was the last time that a massive corporation just trying to make money took the advice of the people? Never. They don't do that, especially in Hollywood. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? We really respect the opinion of the gamers. So we're going to pull it back and we're going to redo it. Like, okay, bullcrap. You had that in your back pocket and you waited. It's beautiful marketing.
That's true. I can see it.
So
I liked that movie actually. I thought it was pretty.
I watched a little bit of it and I thought it was relatively funny.
Yeah. I mean, you have to go into it with the mindset of
I'm watching a Sonic movie.
Yeah. Like it just has to be dumb. But I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah. The part that I watched was okay.
Yeah. Like it wasn't like a well done comedy, but you're going into it like you're seeing a kid's movie. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe because I saw that creature that they put out 2 months before and I was like, my expectations are way down. Maybe that was another thing. They put your expectations like beneath. They put them in hell. And then you're like, I'm only at the second layer of hell instead of the seventh. So it's like, this is pretty good.
This is a net gain.
Yeah. So
yeah. I think in terms, going back real quick, I think if you were kind of looking more at remakes, I think of remasters. I'd want to see Metal Gear Solid 5 remastered.
Okay. I could see that.
Because even though, I mean, it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, but it came out when Generation 7 started. No, 8. Yeah.
And I mean, it's
so good.
Such a good game.
So good.
They're remastering Witcher 3, which I think they should.
Yeah, they definitely should do that.
I'd like to see Mario Kart Double Dash.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good freaking game.
That's a good one.
That's it. That's
but
my
Nintendo
favorite.
never remakes anything, except for
remakes or I'm just talking remaster. I don't think that they should change it because
you're just talking about like a.
I'm like an HD upscale.
Okay.
and then keep everything else the same. And I would be like, all right, like I wouldn't spend $60, but if you charge me $30, I'd be like, well, you know what?
I'd definitely buy that.
I might.
Why not to copy
Yeah.
some of that? Oh yeah,
Mario Kart.
okay. I think that's a good one. I would like to see a N64 era Legend of Zelda remaster,
On a home console?
just like they did Mario.
Okay.
And I think we might get that announced at E3.
You think...
I think that Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask duology will get announced at E3 because this year is the year of Zelda. Last year was the year of Mario.
Yeah.
This year's the 35th anniversary Zelda or whatever. It's 1 year behind Mario. And I think they did that with Mario, the 3D collection. I think they're going to do the same thing with Legend of Zelda.
I don't trust Nintendo.
I think that they'll do it.
Okay. Yeah, they might make like All-Stars.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But oh man. Would I buy it? Probably. Would I be pissed? Yeah, I'd be really mad. But
I think
it's going to look like piss. Cuz like I mean like you think of like
Super Mario
Mario
64 looks pretty good. It's polygon on the Switch, but it looks good.
Yeah,
It's very crisp.
but I want like HD.
I
You
mean,
know?
that is HD.
Looks like piss.
But it's HD. Like it plays on a big screen. That's what it like. It doesn't play in 480.
I want it to look less polygoned, and maybe
they
that's
would
just
have to
a
remake
remake.
it. Yeah, that
Maybe
would be a
maybe I
remake.
just want to remake.
Yeah.
I think remaster. I mean, again, I would probably still buy it because I'm
You would
a
buy it.
cheapo boy who will just throw his money at pretty much anything Nintendo
I don't know if
does.
that's a cheapo.
That's true.
Oh, you know what I would like remastered, remade,
What?
remastered. I'll take a remaster. Did you ever play like Ultimate Alliance and the X-Men games? Those were so fun. The new Ultimate Alliance, not good. Ultimate Alliance 3, not good. The original 2 and the X-Men Legends 1 and 2, those are good. I would take a remaster of those. Not a remake. I wouldn't even need a remake. I'd take a remaster. Not a release. I'm just looking over there at my stuff. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Before we leave, I got one that's gonna throw you for a loop.
Okay.
I think for this one, remake Wii Sports.
I would buy it. Dude.
They would sell so freaking well, especially if they included like Wii Sports Resort in it.
Yeah.
If it was just like a Wii Sports
I would buy it
Wallapalooza,
day one.
I bet it would probably sell pretty freaking well.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that too because I've been playing Galaxy, and I think I mentioned this on like the last who knows how long because it takes me forever to get through games. I've been playing Galaxy, and you press R on the right. You may be able to use right or left, but I'm right-handed on the right Joy-Con, and you can use the pointer.
Yeah,
and it works better than the Wii ever did, just because of modern technology. And it doesn't have an AR or IR sensor. No eye, no nothing. It's just motion.
Yeah.
Works super well. So they could do that easy, and I think it would sell so because you can make Mii's still on there. You just have to do it in like a.
It's a much more complicated. If
Yeah.
they just moved it, if they made it so that you could have a card, on the front thing, people would make a ton of Mii's again. And if you sold it like that, I mean, I'd play it just for baseball.
Oh yeah, I'd
a lot of fun.
immediately buy it. So that's a good one. That might be the best. Other than DK64, that might be the best.
Yeah, DK64 is obviously number one. That's such it needs to come back.
Yeah, but 3D DK games need to come back.
Absolutely.
After that, they went back to 2D. 2D games, super good.
Pissed.
Tropical Freeze, super good.
Pissed.
But I'd still like to play 3D.
Now, real quick, HD bongo rhythm game.
No. I hated those games.
Can you imagine?
Dumbest. I remember I went over to some kid's house. He's like, you want to play DK? And I was like, yeah, I want to play DK. And he's like, okay, here's your bongos. I was like, what is this?
I remember playing Headstrong by Trapped on the bongos.
With the bongos?
Yeah, at like 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday with my friend, and like when I was like 8, just like sitting there like. It was so freaking funny because like the whole time you're expecting to go like.
Yeah. Where were you playing that on?
I think it was GameCube.
They had trap.
Back off! I'll take you
I know what
yeah.
it is, but they had it on DK?
Absolutely. That's where I heard it.
What?
Yeah, it's freaking nuts. It was awesome. Yeah. Yeah. That was the first place that I ever heard because that was like my favorite song when I was a kid.
I found it.
Yeah, it's
Donkey
on
Konga 2
Donkey
Headstrong.
Konga 2.
Oh,
yeah, you just like
Lord.
little like idiot plug it into a freaking GameCube. You're listening to Trapped. It's like so freaking funny.
I gotta watch this. Oh my god, my headphones are turned up so loud. This is a Metopia ad. Hang on.
They're just like, they're like
This is
going
so
ham, like like just going nuts. It's so funny. Dude. That's exactly what it was. I was just like headbanging. Like,
I cannot believe
Dude,
Nintendo licensed
so
out this.
freaking funny. It was
What?
so funny.
Holy cow! Apparently, I'm
Remake.
not
Donkey Konga Bonga, whatever they call it.
the only Donkey Konga.
Donkey Konga.
Konga Bonga. I wonder what other. I need to check what other songs are in that.
It's freaking hilarious.
Wow, that blew my mind. I had no clue.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, that's kind of all that we have to say.
Yeah,
unless you
all I
have
gotta say.
anything else.
No, I'm gonna
Just
look at this song list.
Look at
This is my new playlist. I'm gonna make it All-Star Smash Mouth. That's the number one song. That's the number one song.
Dude, that's awesome.
Headstrong. Let's see.
What else I have? Any classics? Any just
Let's
gems
see. Those are the only two I see that I recognize.
that you recognize?
Yeah. All the rest
Okay.
of them are like.
Post that link in the doc. And I'll take a look at it.
That's
too.
where they used all their licensing money on All Star. There's a Hillary Duff song. My wife would like that.
Hillary Duff.
Yeah. Lizzie McGuire.
Wow.
That was her role model growing up.
Crystal Method.
I thought that said Mo Bamba.
Story of the Year. They're kind of interesting. Pink. Usher. What?
Oh,
That's
I didn't see
freaking
that.
awesome.
You don't have to call Usher.
That's awesome.
Holy cow.
Well, yeah,
right.
so we're Digital Waypoint. You guys should go ahead and look up the Donkey Konga 2 soundtrack. Download it on, I know, for a fact that you can probably find that on like YouTube or something like that. Is that,
I'm sure it's probably
what, kind of, what flag is that on the IGN? Is that the Kenyan flag?
Palestine.
Is that the Palestinian flag?
Yeah. You hover over it, it says how to help Palestine.
Oh, okay. I thought that they just like straight up put like the Palestinian flag, like, just in general. They're like, all right, here we go.
No context.
IGN, Palestine. Okay.
It's kind of it's a hot take to take sides in that right now. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict. That's a
Okay, we're getting political. We are Digital Waypoint. We hope that you guys enjoyed our talks on reboots, remakes, and remasters. If you think that we said anything wrong, if you're like, dude, you guys are so freaking stupid for thinking that Donkey Konga 2 needs a remake, then hit us up at our socials. You can go to DigiWaypoint at DigiWaypoint on Twitter, and you can, that's Twitter.
Instagram. Yeah.
Instagram is at Digital Waypoint.
Yep.
You can also comment on our YouTube page.
Yep.
I'm going to let you guys guess. 1, 2, 3. The name of it is
Digital Waypoint.
You can go ahead and watch a JPEG and listen to us if you need some sort of visual stimulation.
It's true.
But yeah, we're Digital Waypoint.
It's not stimulating. It's just an
it's
image.
just a
I
JPEG.
tried to get a sound synth or sound visualizer. Couldn't find one for free.
Expensive.
Yeah.
So rate us on Apple
Podcast.
Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
Like the video if you listen to it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So we can start getting some money so that we can start put an audio
That's gonna be a long time.
thing on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Like it so we can get a visualizer.
That's exactly what we're gonna do.
I'm gonna say synthesizer.
An audio synthesizer.
Yeah.
Well, with all of that being said, Mason and I are here.
Shadows of the Empire. I just thought of another remake.
What is that?
Star Wars Shadows of the Empire.
Shadows of the Empire sounds
N64.
nerdy as hell.
Yeah. All right. Sorry to interrupt you. I
No.
wanted to get that in.
Go for it. Like I said, hit us up at our socials. Like us, rate us. You know what to do. You also know what time it is. Because it is time for that outro music, baby!